Hi everyone, Brie Stephens here with Lake Life Realty, and for my Monday Live, I am located in the town of Marlborough in Santa Harbor Bay. So behind me, Santa Harbor Bay here, and I was going to touch on a few things of when we go to properties, how do we price them, particularly waterfront properties. So right now I'm at a waterfront property, neighboring obviously other waterfront properties, and going to touch on some of the few things real quickly on value. In our area, value is in the eyes of the beholder. What the buyer needs are can drastically differ from another buyer's. So different things are going to hold more value. It's not just all about how many beds, baths, square footage, finished or unfinished. It's not all about, the stats of just the house. It's so many other factors, especially when you're dealing with waterfront. It is not comparing apples to apples. It is very different from bay to bay, town to town, even on the same shoreline for the same road. The way the shoreline changes can drastically impact the value of your property. So I'm on site at a property right now and going to highlight a few things that we consider when we're valuing properties. So right now I'm looking at a docking system. There's my dog Braun wanting me to throw the ball here for everyone. And then, so looking at this right now, the value of the dock. Right now here, you can get 3 boat slips at this dock, at this property, adding value. But then you go just a house over, and this is a permanent dock. So with this dock, you bubble it so the ice doesn't freeze around it. And what that means is you have open water. So when this person wants to go out on the lake in the wintertime, they can't get on it safely because it's all open water. So something to keep in mind if you're looking to snowmobile right off your property into the lake. If you have a permanent docking system, you would want to try and change that with the state if you wanted to not have it bubbled. But if your neighbor has a permanent dock on either side, or even a few over, that bubbler circulation can actually still keep the water open in front of your property, not allowing you to use it and skate on the winter right in front. You'd have to go somewhere else to get on the water. So something to keep in mind for all the different buyers. Looking down the bay here, you can see 2 boathouses. Those are grandfathered boathouses. In Marlborough, you can no longer add a boathouse. So that is adding significant value to those properties. Again, to the person who finds the boathouse of value. You can have boathouses in other towns, but no longer can you build them out over the water as these are. These are grandfathered. That one was recently renovated within the past year to match the home, but they still had to stay within the footprint. So their boat cannot fit in the inside. They could not expand it. So their boat's still on the outside. They keep the jet skis and toys on the inside. It's just something to keep in mind. This is a seasonal dock. It cranks up in the air in the wintertime. Some people could say that impacts your view for the winter, and this staying permanent does not. So really depends on what you're thinking. Looking out here, the sun's gonna set at this property right here. There's a lot more buyers that do prefer this type of exposure than the other, but it's totally different. The winds do come from this direction. So on a windy day like yesterday, this was all white caps, super wavy, very difficult to dock the boat in, versus the other side, you could be floating on a tube and enjoying, a bathing suit day, versus here you'd be in a sweatshirt all bundled up. So something to think about. Totally depends on your lifestyle. Are you up early in the morning with the sunrise, or are you up late with the sunset? And then across the way here in Santa Harbor Bay, you're looking at a lot of undeveloped land. Considering what's undeveloped, how protected that is, will change the value of the property. The distance across the way could change the value of your property depending on, how big a view someone's looking for. Some people say this isn't a big enough view for them in Santa Harbor Bay. They want something much more open. They want those mountain views in the distance there. So again, different values for different buyers. So there's, as you can see, that's just a few examples of the many that we use in regards to valuing property. So it is very difficult, and it's even more difficult now because of the low inventory. It's harder to find those comparables. So some other features. This has permitting for a perched beach. So this is a nice accessory to this property. This property is gently sloping. They have made it easy to get to. They have a yard to, entertain, play games, if that is of importance to a buyer. But then you can see over here, with all this grass, there's actually no vegetation. That is the neighbor's property, so there's no barrier with your privacy here. And that cottage is a different property as well. There is no barrier here. It kind of feels like one. So, some people might look at that as it's not private enough, and you'd have to think of the investment to make it more private for yourself. They've made this easy access into the lake. So again, that's something of value for some people versus you may just have steps off your dock or none at all and have to consider how you're going to get in the water and out of the water, or what permits you may need to pull to see if you can do anything to make it easier for you. Especially if you have kids or elderly, that's important. Side note, if you're wondering what this caution tape is, which leads to this attractive fencing here, obviously there's a geese problem that you can see. When the geese see the grass, they come. And so then you're dealing with lovely pinwheels, streamers, caution tape, fencing, what have you. So again, this property is different than a lot of others, particularly Molten Borough. This is your main level. It's not a walkout lower level. So your main living, kitchen, dining is all right here, out to your porch, and then you just have these steps down to the waterfront. Something to keep in mind, if you're, going up and down a walkout property versus something where the main floor walks right out onto your outdoor space. So here's a different property. This is the neighbor's property. You can see the proximity. Some may see that as a turret. This also has a right of way. They are landlocked. They have a shared driveway with this property. So some people may not like that. These neighbors get along great. Totally depends on the personality. They have a grandfathered docking system. It's more like a deck. So someone, if they wanted different docking, had certain kind of boats, this may affect their thoughts on the value of a property. Over here, they also have a canopy. Usually people see that as added value. That's a permit you need as well. And then you can see all this sandy clear water. So the quality of the water is one of the most important pieces of valuing a property. You can see all this sand. It's not gucky. It's all clear, beautiful sand. Certain properties don't have as clear sand. Doesn't mean it's any different to swim in. Totally depends on, what your thoughts are on that. So that's just a little sneak peek of a few of the reasons I can come up with as I just walk around these few properties right here for value. But there's so many more, and our team is fully educated and has a lot of experience when it comes to waterfront properties. And we're happy to share with you more about the different pros and cons of different locations, but really helping you determine what's the right location for you and what of the things I mentioned is important for you and what's not. That way we can find the right property for you, the one that's going to match how you're going to use it best, and not have you have any regrets. So that's what we're here for at Lake Life Realty. We specialize with waterfront, and we're happy to help. So thanks for tuning in. Message us if you have any questions on this, or you're looking for a valuation on your property. Happy to help. Or if you see properties on the market and you're wondering, what our thoughts are on their price, feel free to message us too. All right, thanks so much. Bye.